You want me to put that on my touted?
Harry's wife. Super influencer? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The Times, with an article by Harriet Walker, queries £300,000 a post. How Harry's wife could become a super influencer. It is staggering that anybody would contemplate paying that beige nonentity that amount of money and suggest that she could become a super influencer. First of all, there is a rump of supporters there. Of course there is. The sugars. Many of them, of course, are bots. And so last time I looked, bots aren't going to be spending any money. What would you be paying her for? After all, I've just spoken about the fact that Spotify has spunked millions of dollars, and what did it get in return? A snooze fest of a series by way of arsey wipes. Netflix have spunked tens of millions of dollars, and what have they got back? A dull-as-ditchwater docuseries, which was picked apart because of its lies and revisions of history. Where's the Invictus Games material? Apparently coming this summer. Well, last time I looked out of the window and looked at the beautiful cornflower blue sky and the green of all the trees around me and felt the sun on my skin as I opened the door and went outside. It's summer already, and it's not here. The track record of this woman with regard to creativity basically means it's a load of rubbish. Perhaps you'd be paying her because she's a fashion icon. After all, everybody wants to look like Chairman Mao visiting New York or the Bouncing Berry of Harlem, or they want to look like Tent by Army Surplus, Fridge by Valentino, Pooh emoji hat, one of our Jawas is missing, Overripe burst tomato lady, Grandma's bedspread, Kermit goes to church, and other fashion disasters. Yes, you absolutely would want to pay this woman a huge amount of money for the purposes of influencing people to wear fashion like her so they look like they got dressed in the dark and then dragged through a hedge. Would it be that you'd want to pay her for her political insight? She has none. Perhaps you would like to pay her because of the meaningful views that she has about the world. She hasn't. She pinches them from other people. So the suggestion that she could be paid $300,000 a post is either demonstrative of companies that got more money than sense, or quite simply that there are people that would be willing to be influenced by this boring individual, which really does not bode well for the future of the planet. The article explains that a mere split-second public appearance from her inspires love and loathing in equal measure. I would suggest it's more towards loathing these days. But Harry's wife's familiar features could soon generate considerably more than that, both for her and the brands prepared to pay enough, I would say foolish to pay enough. She's already one of the most famous faces on the planet. Now the Duchess of Sussex looks set to be its most expensive too. Digital talent agents estimate that the Duchess will be able to charge up to £300,000 per Instagram post should she decide to set up with a new social media profile, as is expected. The @Sussex Royal Instagram account, from which the couple logged off along with their royal duties in early 2020, is still followed by 9.4 million people. Yes, but what it tells you about those 9.4 million people is that they are so dumb that they have forgotten that there's nothing being posted there, and therefore they've not removed themselves as a follower. Many people don't. 3 months on from the news in March that Harry's wife had refreshed the trademark for her defunct lifestyle blog, the internet is primed for its relaunch. Well, this has been said repeatedly, and so far it hasn't happened. I'll tell you why it hasn't happened. Because it's going to involve work. It takes effort to pump out quality material. Although her material isn't quality, she still has to pump out the material. And of course, when she was a struggling actress, she had a lot of time on her hands, and because she needed a supplementary income, because at that juncture in her career there wasn't the certainty of being paid all of the time, she created the TIG. We don't know how successful it was. It had a following. She'll have received some merch for free. She may have received money by virtue of advertisements that were run upon it, although the money that could be made from blogs these days is pretty piss poor compared to how it was sort of 10, 15 years ago. Nevertheless, with Harry's wife, she had the time, and her narcissism will have driven her to put in the effort to create content, to conduct the interviews, to copy and paste material from elsewhere, to sit with all the various articles looking for inspiration. But now, she's become accustomed to everything being given to her on a plate. And what's more likely is that she will hire somebody else to write the content in her name, because she can't be asked. After all, working for Archwell 1 hour a week is particularly taxing. But all of that requires effort for it to be done, and she'd rather have the money come to her far more easily. I'm surprised she hasn't started up an OnlyFans account, to be honest. Nevertheless, born in 2014 and named after the Suits star's favourite type of red wine, the reassuringly priced blend Tianello, which of course you don't pronounce the T, so calling it the TIG was a bit of a misnomer. The TIG went offline in 2017, so it lasted just for 3 years, when she was engaged to Prince Harry. Its second coming is expected to straddle the lucrative territory occupied by Gwyneth Paltrow's 1% lifestyle and wellness empire Goop, and the headset and no-notes elite talking points platform TED. The new online presence, plus the not inconsiderable water under the bridge since Harry's wife was last active in the blogosphere, could net its founder an even more substantial audience than the @Prince and Princess of Wales account run for William and Kate, which has 15 million followers. While their content is not sponsored, it is technically taxpayer-funded. I can see Harry's wife getting 200,000 to 300,000 per post easily, says one broker at a leading creative partnerships agency who's clearly been engaged to talk this up. There's no set fee for this sort of thing, but brands have big budgets for people with the sort of reach she has. She'll be in line with the best paid mega influencers, if not the highest paid in the world, says Alison Bringay of the brand performance company Launch Metrics. The £18 million Spotify podcast deal and $100 million Netflix contract for hers and Harry's series suddenly seems like rather a lot of effort for the cash in comparison with posting the odd selfie or spiel to camera on the grid. Indeed. Accordingly, it will prove more attractive to her to have a social media account which she does the odd thing on, rather than sit down and create polished content. The article continues to state, this isn't to say Harry's wife will be interspersing pouting shots with shilling weight loss gummies or eye cream the way Kim Kardashian does to her 358 million followers, which demonstrates that Harry's wife's followers previously, their number pales in comparison to that of Kim Kardashian. Rather, experts compare her to someone such as Julia Roberts, 11 million, or Gwyneth herself, 8.3 million, whose internet reach exists because they are famous beyond it. Roberts has recently posted shots of herself in a Gucci suit and modelling for the luxury watch brand Chopard, and tagged an upmarket haircare brand backstage at Jimmy Kimmel. Difference there is that Julia Roberts is a truly beautiful woman and a fairly decent actress. She hasn't flagged them as paid partnerships, but they're likely to be the fruit of deals arranged with each. Agents ask for anything between £50,000 for a mention to £200,000 for a dedicated post, the same broker tells me. It's a bit of a wild west sometimes. People just make up numbers. But if the person is worth it, a brand will pay. And therein lies the nub of the matter, if they are worth it. The article continues by explaining the Duchess is likely to pick up this sort of work online, either as part of a long-standing ambassador contract with a brand that also takes in public appearances and billboard advertising, or as a one-off plug known in the business as an activation. There are rumours abroad that she, and potentially Harry too, has already signed with a talent agency to begin working on agreements such as these. Basically, having achieved infamy through the person that she's married, she will then use the reach that comes with that to flog things. That's a strong, independent feminist, isn't it? How did you achieve your reach? Was it based on your sporting prowess? Your brilliant writing skills? Your inspirational, insightful observations about the human condition? Was it as a consequence of being a popular pop star? How about the fact that you've appeared in many excellent movies and television shows? How did you achieve your reach then, Harry's wife? Oh, it was because you married somebody. And he happened to be a ginger prince. I see. And now, as a strong independent feminist, you're going to monetize your marriage with the reach that it's afforded you to then tell people, why don't you dress like me when I go hiking because I looked really good on that occasion? Or if you want to go to church, you can dress like me as Kermit the Frog. You would think that any brand that values its brand wouldn't go near her because of 1, lack of talent, 2, toxic behaviours, 3, I wouldn't see, for instance, many family-based organisations wanting to have anything to do with her because she's ostracised both wings of her own family, her in-laws, and of course her father and her half-siblings. Of course, there'll be some that will still see that the things that she can flog for them. But do you think it's going to be high-end material? Let me know in the comments. More likely, if she is going to go down these routes, the route rather of being a super influencer, she'll be flogging tat. But what more does the article have to tell us about what she's looking to achieve? Well, take her hiking cameo in Monty Shit Show over the coronation weekend last month. Candid shots that broadcast the Duchess in a J. Crew jacket and Victoria Beckham sunglasses, a Cartier watch that belonged to Princess Diana, and a Bentley & Skinner diamond bracelet. The jacket is now sold out. Not really sure why. Looks like something that you could get anywhere. And Google searches for the jewellery brand rose up by 100% in the week after the pictures were released. Insiders believe the images were, if not directly arranged commercially, then offered a blueprint for how the Duchess may work with brands in future and how much clout she can offer at the negotiating table. So accordingly, as a strong independent feminist, all she does is appear by saying, look what I'm wearing, buy it. How does that add to feminism? How is that empowering people? Once again, she shows her hypocrisies and her contrarian behaviour. Super influencer? Of course. Because it enables her to control people, to draw fuel from them, to get those residual benefits. But once again, it shows that there is no credibility associated with her. Apparently, the heft that is known as in the industry as media impact value or earned media value, a figure arrived at by not by shifting product or generating sales, but estimating the worth of exposure to give a sense of return on investment. Exposure doesn't reflect whether a person is viewed positively or negatively, or whether they have done, in one agent's words, anything icky. It deals in eyeballs and water cooler currency. And of course, that's one of the advantages that she has, is that if it's purely about water cooler content, plenty of people talk about her. The kind of virality of the content that comes from Harry's wife is different to any other, Bringay says. When she wears a Stella McCartney dress, she generates $3 million for the label, where Michelle Obama generates around $300,000. Victoria Beckham catwalk show generates something like $8 million, but that's holding an entire fashion show compared to a single shot of Harry's wife. Personally, I think this individual is overstating it, and this is almost sniffing, having the smell of a paid piece to drum up interest in her as being an influencer. Brands who want high exposure veer towards big celebrity placements, says Anna Ross, global head of insight at the communication agency Carla Otto. The higher the engagement, the more reach and impact a celebrity has. No shit. Of course, sales are likely to follow too. It's more about brand awareness, Ross continues, but we've seen instances of a well-known star wearing a particular brand and the brand then struggling to keep up with demand. You might remember when this was known as the Kate effect. There was a time when anything the Princess of Wales wore sold out regardless of price. But sources say her retail relevance now tends to be with more affordable items. This isn't to be sniffed at, but luxury brands are now looking to Harry's wife as a new figure with high-end rather than mass appeal. Again, I don't think that's accurate. Given the way that she dresses, would you really think that she is somebody that wears luxury brands well? And I think this is more of an attempt to talk her up in the expectation of saying, come and get me, come and use me. The fact is, you would have to say, are you proud of yourself? You hold yourself out as being this strong, independent feminist, and all you're doing is, again, merchandising the fact that you married a ginger prince. Of course, she doesn't see it that way because her narcissism stops her from doing so. But that's not going to stop everybody else from viewing it precisely the way that it is. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.